G'day and welcome to Don't Read the Comments, a podcast where we ignore the show's title and actually read online comments relating to something going on in the world of Doctor Who. Tonight, something timely. Lux is the episode coming this weekend, and we were intrigued by it on last weekend's Robot Revolution hot take. Hope you've heard that one. So I'm now on the official Doctor Who channel on YouTube, where 2 days ago it dropped a new Lux trailer. There are currently 266 comments at the time of recording. I'm not going to read them all. I'm set to top comments. Let's go. Elemental Comic Universe says, "This is the one episode that I'm excited to see the most. Mr. Ring-a-Ding brings out Who Framed Roger Rabbit vibes." An interesting take. Moody Man 4231 says, "I feel like this guy is one of the Toymakers legions. I mean, he did say his legions are coming, and living cartoon character just screams Toymaker." I think that's a great guess, Moody Man, as good as any. Galaxy Films Productions says, "If the Doctor doesn't make a reference to 11 by saying bow ties are cool in this ep, I will be mighty sad. We had fish fingers and custard in Boom. Now please, Russell, can we have this in Lux?" And of course the reference here, if you've not seen the trailer, Shooty is wearing a bow tie in it. For me, I'm not really that bothered with self-referential, hey, he used to say bow ties are cool and he's wearing a bow tie, so he must say bow ties are cool. I'm more interested in telling a good story rather than callbacks and, dare I say it, member berries. Mysterious Jojo says, "My prediction, the Doctor will defeat Ring-a-Ding by using cartoon logic to produce a giant hammer out of nowhere and smush him into a pancake. There will also be a bit where he seems to die, but then a second Doctor walks in from off screen, like Uncle Grandpa." Now, I'm not sure who Uncle Grandpa is, but I get the sentiment. That would be a very cartoonish sort of thing to happen. We do know that they are transformed into cartoons in this. I think that sounds entirely plausible. Matt 0044 says, "I don't care who hates RTD 2.0. This episode shows them flexing with their budget in a creative way that leans into Doctor Who's strangeness." And I think, yeah, good shout, Matt. It certainly does lean into Doctor Who's strangeness. Not every show can suddenly bust out into being a cartoon. For some reason, at this moment, I'm thinking of when Buffy, or was it Angel, busted out into a Puppets episode. That was quite weird. But not every show can do puppets or cartoons or even a musical, although musicals have gotten a bit more common in Hollywood, and that's kind of another side street I won't go down. Yeah, I'm sure they did do a bit of a flex with the budget for this one. And if the results pay off, I think fantastic. Bianca Maria Valenti 8050 says, "It's like a mix between the Cuphead show and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I'm personally excited. I can't wait to see this." And that's an interesting comment because on our monthly episode that I did with Mike Solko last month when Dave wasn't in the co-host chair, Mike actually raised the video game Cuphead in reference to this episode. So it's interesting that people are seeing the same thing there. Joe McLaughlin 3385 says, "I can't wait for this Doctor Who episode to come out because it seems like it's going to be a little bit spooky. I'd honestly love to see that again in Doctor Who, giving us a scary, creepy episode. I think it's because at first we see Mr. Ring-a-Ding coming out of the screen at the cinema when everyone is screaming, which looks terrifying. Also, Mr. Ring-a-Ding is an old vintage cartoon character from the 50s, 40s or 30s. Old vintage cartoon characters smiling looks creepy. I think that's why the next episode, Lux, gives me spooky vibes. I wonder if he's another Legion of the Toymaker." So there we go again. Another vote for the Toymaker and a comment on how older cartoons do look creepy. That's kind of similar to what I was talking about with Mike as well. So Joe, on board with you there. Kyle Meh says, "Who Framed Roger Rabbit just turned into a horror movie. Hee hee, I can't wait." And that's how many Roger Rabbit references we have so far. That's about the third or the fourth, at least the third. Gosh, a lot of people seeing Who Framed Roger Rabbit in here. Guys, there are more cartoons out there which mix live action and cartoon than just Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Nerdlife6676 says, "Such a great start to the season, and this episode looks like a blast." A Different Lens 2345 says, "Looks like a lot of fun. First episode had problems, but was a return to form." And Mr. Tambourine Man says, I'm so excited for this. Love the animation. So there's 3 rapid fire comments where people are really into this. And again, at the end of our hot take, Dave and I were both intrigued by what's going on in this episode. To go back to that earlier comment, do think it looks a bit spooky too. The way they've locked up the cinema. Why have they locked it up? Has Mr. Ringadin taken everybody, or is everyone locked in there with him, or what's going on there? That's a scary thing. A haunted cinema, haunted by a cartoon character coming out of the screen. Wow, it's got potential. Of course, we have to see it now, but ... it's got potential. Kevin McQuarrie 7395 says Mary Poppins meets Cuphead with time travel, so another Cuphead reference there. Hesketh Connolly says, finally the episode I've been looking forward to. So excited to watch this on Saturday with my family. At Foundation 6867 says, for the first time Doctor Who will be animated for this one episode. I hope the animation lasts for about 30 minutes, but this is exciting. And I've got to pull you up there, Foundation. It's been animated in the past. There was the David Tennant piece. What was that called? Dreamland? There is a full-length Doctor Who animation from the Tennant era. It wasn't part of the main series, granted, but it is out there. You can get it on DVD if you like. So, no, not the first time it's been animated. And I doubt the animation will last about 30 minutes. 30 minutes out of a 45-minute runtime? No, I don't think so. Silverwind87 says, took us 35 years, but we finally got that Doctor Who cartoon. Well, again, no, we've had Doctor Who cartoons in the past. Do look up Dreamland. And finally, Thomas Worthy 8255 says, I feel like this episode can go really good or really bad, depending on how it is written. So I'm cautiously optimistic for next week's episode. And that's fair. I think any episode can go good or bad, depending on how it's written. And just looking back over all these comments, here we are, folks. We're on YouTube. People don't hold back on YouTube. If they want to really go to town on something, they will. And the comments here are, well, they're largely positive. They dovetail with what we were thinking on the hot take. They dovetail with what other podcasts have been saying when they've raised Lux coming up. I think, no pressure, Lux, but a lot of people are going to be tuning in thinking you're something special. So hopefully you are. Hopefully you are. Anyway, until next time on the Doctor Who show, and don't read the comments, I've been Rob. Maybe we'll get Dave onto one of these one day soon. I know he's very busy with federal election and such at the moment. But I have heard your comments that you would like a co-host from time to time. I get it. I totally get it. We'll see where this show goes. But for now, I'll catch you next time on the Doctor Who show.